To quote from Dr. Korante Mpipim, open quotes, being men and women of principle means that we must be willing to be instruments of change. Even if we are the only ones, we must act. And we must be willing, if need be, to pay the ultimate price for our principled position and action, however undeserved the injustice may be. Close quote. Like President Nelson Mandela, an ethical leader cherishes the idea of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities, an ideal which they strive to achieve on a daily basis, and if needs be, an ideal for which they are prepared to die. For South Africa, let me round up by saying, good people, we have a great country. And the possibility to build it into an economic superpower that can help transform Africa and impact the rest of the world positively is in our hands. We have been accusing one another for far too long. We have spent our energies on analyzing what it means to be a white person, what it means to be a black person, what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a man. I think we should spend more time reflecting on what it is that brings us together as a people. We must take seriously the preamble to our Constitution and the constitutional aspirations outlined for all of us, for our collective benefit in the Constitution. When crime hits, it doesn't care what color you are. When the economic recession comes down, it hits every pocket, regardless of color. When corruption is left to run amok, and the stock market comes down, even if you have not invested in the stock exchange, it's going to find you out. When the price of petrol, the price of oil, is affected by unethical leadership here and elsewhere, it's not going to fish out. Its consequences are not going to fish out for who is black, who is white, so that it can find selective expression. Why don't we, in our homes, in our areas or spheres of influence, black and white, come to terms with the fact that our country has for far too long suffered because we thought there is something in being black, there is something in being white, when in fact, we are mere mortals, mere human beings who ought to appreciate that there is everything in this country for all of us and creatively look for ways in which we can make the most of it. Just as Singapore, which has nothing except location, was through sheer commitment to values, principles, and ethical leadership, able to shame those big nations with immeasurable resources like us. Why can't we form, I like the way, think tanks, I like that those chairs, think tanks wherever we are. Always embark upon a deep reflection with your peers, with your colleagues, on what is it that needs to be done from now henceforth to ensure that we are not going to be led by anybody who is unethical. What leadership appointment, what leadership selection or election mechanism needs to be in place to make sure that we can sift out those with character flaws or character deficiencies, so that never again is our nation disgraced by having imposed on it people who don't know whether they are coming or going. Why have we outsourced our thinking capacities to others? Why do we think others necessarily have the capacities we don't have to find solutions to our own problems? Why is it not our business to craft strategies that could be followed by teachers at kindergarten level and throughout the educational system, in faith-based organizations, and even in our homes, for instilling much needed values? Whatever your religion, even if you are an atheist, you can never argue against the need for everybody to be treated with dignity, with respect, for people's property to be respected. You can never argue against that. You can never argue against the need for us to collectively and individually do everything within our power to make sure that where there is a possibility to prevent the death of others, we step in and make it happen. Let us check our love for money. I never understand why a person should have 14 vehicles or 10 houses. When are you going to drive them? When are you going to sleep in them? Let us inculcate values that will open up our eyes to the reality that there is so much fulfillment, there is so much contentment in helping that desperate soul that doesn't know where the next meal is going to come from. Let us embrace what Mandela said was trade justice. I love it when people make money, but I will always speak against a tendency to milk the system with all sorts of systems to the point where even what goes to government as tax is virtually nothing. Let's candidly, without being hostile, reflect on the sense behind others having to amass it all when there is so much need out there.